Just 5 days before Rodney Reed was scheduled to go to the death chamber, the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals stepped in and spared Reed's life. Reed's mother, Sandra Reed, tells CBS Austin she was more than relieved when she learned her son would live longer than she thought the justice system would allow. Reed has served more than 2 decades in prison for the 1996 rape and murder of Stacey Stites. He was sentenced to death, but now the appeals court says Reed's case should be re-examined by the Bastrop County Trial Court, citing the state's suppression of evidence that would have favored Reed, false testimony, and the question of Reed's innocence. But Jimmy Fennell's attorney begs to differ. Fennell was Stites' then fiancé at the time of the murder. Attorney Robert Phillips represented Fennell during his trial years later when he was convicted of kidnapping and improper sexual misconduct of a woman in his custody in Georgetown. But he maintains Fennell's innocence in the murder of Stites. He says the Court of Appeals has made a huge mistake.
Ten people have been injured and 4 killed in a shooting in California on Sunday. Police say the suspects snuck into a backyard in southeast Fresno where guests had gathered to watch a football game. Of the 10 shot, 3 were found dead in the backyard and a 4th victim died in hospital. Earlier on Sunday, a man was shot to death at a home in the same city. Police have not said whether the incidents are connected.
With a little under 4 weeks to go to the UK general election, Boris Johnson's Conservative Party has extended its lead in voting intention polls. The UK Prime Minister has announced all candidates standing for the Conservatives have pledged to support his deal on Britain's exit from the European Union. Jeremy Corbyn's opposition Labour Party will hope to revive its fortunes with a manifesto launch on Thursday. Its opinion poll rating is slightly up following the first week of campaigning, but that performance has been overshadowed by the Conservative surge. Scottish First Minister Nicola Sturgeon has been putting her weight behind the Scottish Nationalist Party's call for a new independence referendum next year.
Knee-deep in St Mark's Square, people fear a third flood with damage already estimated at €1 billion. The government has released emergency funding to tackle the devastation.
The Council of Ministers has allocated €20 million for the first emergency measures, which are for the rescue and assistance of the population and the restoration of public services.
The city is under a state of emergency. Venice's mayor says a final estimate of the damage would only be possible once the city dries out. He pointed to long-term concerns about climate change.
One of these men will be the next president of Algeria. All are former ministers or supporters of former President Abdelaziz Bouteflika, and whoever wins will have their legitimacy questioned. On the streets of Algeria, thousands came out to decry the election as a sham.
We want a civil state, not a military state. The government should all step down. No election. We deserve new faces, other than former President Abdelaziz Bouteflika government.
The protests are entering their 40th week. They began because of widespread popular discontent with President Bouteflika's long rule. In April, he resigned, and his brother and a number of former ministers have since been jailed for corruption.
A new level of violence has hit the streets of Hong Kong today. Police are threatening to use lethal force if protesters continue to use their deadly weapons. Now, police are trying to push out protesters who have occupied a university campus in central Hong Kong. This follows another day of violent confrontations. Police are warning they will respond with violence and live rounds. Tear gas, Molotov cocktails, and water bombs are some of the weapons that have been used in the past few hours. Officials say an officer was struck struck and hurt by one of those arrows.
Police, like you've mentioned, have warned protesters that they need to leave that campus immediately. They say if they don't, they will be categorized as rioters and arrested. That carries about a 10-year jail sentence.
Now, Cambodia is one of the fastest growing economies in the world, and it's one of the key players in South Korea's new southern policy. During President Moon Jae-in's state visit to Phnom Penh in March this year, the two countries agreed to do more together to build a stronger bilateral relationship.
Known for the world's largest religious structure, Angkor Wat, Cambodia has gone through a significant transition over the past 2 decades, bringing its poverty rate down from 47% in 2007 to 13% in 2014. Sharing borders with Thailand to the west, Laos to the north, and Vietnam to the east, Cambodia is located in the heart of the ASEAN region. Most of the country's 16 million people are Buddhists. Cambodia's most renowned landmark, the Angkor Wat Temple, attracts about 2.6 million tourists every year.
Its developers say it's the most advanced straight-line racing car ever built. Its aim? To break the world land speed record. At a speed of 800 kilometers an hour, the Bloodhound LSR is one of the world's top 10 fastest cars. But it aims to double that speed next year. It's been built to break the record set more than 20 years ago at 1,227.9 kilometers an hour. Despite the sweltering heat, the Huaxinpan region deep in the Kalahari Desert provides the ideal testing ground. The open flat surface has been carefully prepared by hundreds of local community members who've removed tons of rock for a smooth ride. Organizers say it's the largest area of land ever cleared for a motorsport event.
A woman's undergone surgery after she was savaged by a kangaroo near a popular walking track at Wodonga. As Karianne Greenbank reports, she played dead in an attempt to stop the attack.
With 25 stitches in her face and scratches on her arms, back and legs, Kiwa Valley resident Dinah says she's grateful her injuries weren't more serious.
He missed my eyeball. I'm so fortunate that I still got my eyeball intact.
The kangaroo that attacked her had been chased by her pet dog, but lashed out at Dinah when she tried to intervene.
He attacked me from behind and he knocked me to the ground. He gouged at the back of my leg, and I know now if I hadn't turned around, I would have probably been disemboweled.
The attack happened just metres from a walking track on Wodonga's Federation Hill. Dinah says there was little she could do except wait for the mauling to stop.